Our journey in this episode began here in the land of the rising sun, and on a certain Sunday the sun certainly did shine down on a certain Repsol Honda rider, Marc Marquez. Now the man himself is going to be joining us for this particular episode, but before we talk with him about the events here in Japan and the season leading up to that moment, we thought we'd take you on a bit of a trip. First Australia, then Malaysia. Welcome to After the Flag.
It's looking good.
Marc, thank you very much for joining us.
Valentino was.
Yes, and here we were then Wednesday morning before the Australian Grand Prix, and we find ourselves actually in downtown Melbourne, ready for another one of these pre-events. Repsol Honda, but this time Dani Pedrosa very much involved. Jack Miller will be here as well, and to the panic of some in the vicinity, the dreaded handy cam returns. I'm alright, yeah. Are you? Are you excited?
Oh, yeah, not bad.
Feel privileged?
Oh, a little bit. I'm just hoping I don't crash in the river. Hi.
Hello. Is 40 going to be a bit slow, do you think?
40.
Yeah, or 60 or whatever it is.
40. We have to keep the balance there.
All
There's
go on.
lots of waiting until it gets started. It takes quite a while. But
Yeah, I know the feeling.
then the end, it's looking good.
Well, after the tension in Japan and all the drama in Australia, we've managed to pin down the world champion himself, Marc Marquez, on a slightly quieter day here before the Malaysian Grand Prix to talk about his incredible second year in MotoGP. Marc, thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi.
Hi. Right, what I want to know, first of all, looking back at Japan, when you crossed the finish line, what was going on under your helmet? Was it relief? Was it emotion? Did you cry with happiness?
It's difficult to say always what you feel exactly, but on that time, for example, in Valencia last year, I already start to think about it because the race was more quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But here, until last lap, I was pushing 100% because Valentino was really close and also Dani was coming. And then I was pushing, and yeah, when I passed the line, first reaction was like nothing. And I didn't brake, and I nearly go straight to the gravel. But then everything comes down. You know, the feeling is difficult. It's difficult to explain, but you feel like in a dream, like really happy, like that you achieve your dream.
I mean, achieving this dream for some people on the outside, if we look at the whole season, sometimes you made it look too easy.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it wasn't, but did you feel more pressure this year because you were defending your title, or was it a bit easier because you already have this world title, your first one?
No, of course this year was more difficult to manage the pressure, because last year everything was okay. If I crashed, it was okay. It's his first year, he must to learn. If I did some mistake, was the first year, I need to learn. But this year was like you must to do. And then the target was already on the preseason. The target was the title and the championship, and yeah, the pressure was difficult to manage. But the people can think, yeah, it's easy because he win 10 races in a row, but was not like that.
I think this 10 races in a row, it got you a lot of attention, not just from the media, but from the fans. We now see you in the paddock. You're the MotoGP superstar. How is it sometimes difficult for you? I mean, I'm sure you love this life, but is it sometimes difficult that everyone wants a photo, everyone wants an autograph?
Yeah, I didn't imagine that. You couldn't imagine when you are on 1 to 5 or Moto 2. But yeah, MotoGP is another world, is another step, and when you do well the people, okay, inside the circuit, it's okay because you know that it's coming the MotoGP fan, and you already expect that the people will stop you, will take a picture with you, and it's okay. But the most difficult thing is on the normal life. That now is the time that it's in the critical moment. No, you cannot go in every place. You need to be careful with everything. But in the end, I like it because you feel all the support of the people. And if they ask a picture with you, autograph of you, that is a good sign because that means that you are doing well and they are fans of you and they are interesting about you.
Talking about this support network, you know, with your team, very tight team, you have your father here, you obviously have your brother here riding. How important is it to have those people here so that you can really be yourself once the doors close?
Yeah, it's important. Maybe it's the most important, and for me in the circuit, the most important is the team because you spend a lot of time with them, and you must to have I like to have a good relationship with all of them, a tight relationship, and yeah, it's important. Then it's my brother too that he's a good rider, more or less.
More or less.
No, but it's okay. But it's my brother too here that you know, I try to help him. He tried to help me in some things, and yeah, it's important too because for dinner we dinner together or after dinner we meet and we speak about the day, and then it's my family and that they like to come in the races because they enjoy it. So for me it's okay.
And obviously having this support network with your family, I'm sure also helps in difficult times. Maybe, let's think Misano, one of your first crashes, then Aragon as well. In those races, did you ever think there's a tiny little chance you won't win the title if you do more mistakes at the other races?
Of course, you never know about racing, and especially in the motorbikes, because you can injure. Everything can happen, but okay, Misano, I take more risk than usual because I know that the advantage was big, and then just I was pushing and doesn't care about the rest. But then in Aragon, I didn't expect that mistake, but it was a special race, a special situation, and there I did a mistake. But no, After more or less after Silverstone, I say okay, now more or less I start to see the title, but I know that until the end, until that is not in the pocket, you cannot finish to push and to stay concentrated.
Talking about the fight with Jorge, with Valentino, with Danny, you might not tell us, but which one is the most difficult one and maybe the most fun one to fight with out on track?
Okay, the most fun one is Valentino, or is the one what I enjoyed more because it's Valentino, and you know, you overtake him, he overtake you. Always, we try like to play a little bit, like pom and overtake many times, and then the strongest one is depend of the race, depend of the setup of the bike, depend of the circuit. Sometimes, of course, Lorenzo is really strong. For example, in Montmeló, Danny was the strongest one, and Valentino, he have a lot of experience, and he know in every circuit all the places where he can overtake.
But you must be copying him. I'm sure you've watched every video with Valentino where he passes.
Yeah, of course, when he beat me, or when he overtake me, or another one, or races from the past, always you try to understand why and how is the situation and what he did, and then you try to copy.
Okay. Now, going back to your brother, you said your brother, he's very fast, okay? He might be the world champion this weekend here in Malaysia, but looking at the future, can you imagine a Marquez Repsol Honda team?
Will be a dream.
Yeah. So you want your brother in the same team, fighting with your brother?
I would like face to face.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're different heights.
Yeah, but it's okay. We have the same bike, same team, everything. No excuse.
Yeah.
No, but it's joke. Yeah, will be nice. Now at the moment he's in Moto3. Here he have the first chance to win the title. But the most important thing to him is like stay calm and stay concentrated. Because what he's doing is really difficult because okay, he have the pressure to lead the championship, but also he has the pressure from the people that hey, your brother already won, you must won, you are the brother of Mark, and manage all the pressure is difficult. So it's important with him to concentrate only with his team, with his bike, and try to do what he can, and then we will see. But maybe someday, why not? No, if he continue that way, that career, why not to be on the same team in the future?
Okay, well look, Mark, final question now, your future. You've got 4 world titles, 2 in the Premier class. We know that you've looked up to Valentino as well. What is your aim? Do you have a goal that you say, I want more titles than Valentino, or do you just want to keep having fun?
No, just you cannot fix a target or a number. You must enjoy it every year. Every year is different. It's different situations, different races, different weather, and you must to find the best way. But we will try to win again next year and win again on 2016 and try to continue like that. But yeah, it's difficult to say where I will arrive. But of course, what I did until now, I'm already really happy. So I'm only 21. Just keep pushing and try to keep this level.
Fantastic, Mark. Well, look, thank you very much for your time and all the best in the final 2 races.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So from the world champion himself to the races that make world champions. And across our triple header, we have an awful lot to get through. So let's start with Moto3. Now in Japan, it was Jack Miller and Danny Kent's mistake going into the final few turns that let through Alex Marquez to take the win. And that certainly added a bit of a twist to the world championship. But then back in Australia, Miller fought back. An absolutely incredible ride. Saw him take victory just so finely from Marquez and Rins. And then we came to Malaysia with the title about to be decided. Marquez had the upper hand on points coming to Malaysia, and Miller had a sense of nothing to lose, and that's certainly what he raced like in Sepang here, with some very tough moves from the Aussie on the Spaniard. And in the end, it was Miller who won that particular battle, though it was Efren Vasquez who rode a great race to take his 2nd win ahead of Miller and a superb Alex Rins, who started from 17th. Now Marquez finished 5th behind a very stubborn Danny Kent, meaning the title will come down to Valencia. And moving on to Moto2, Tito Rabat from Japan on already looked like one of the strongest contenders, and he has done all across these flyaway races. Just so fast in the practice session. But even in Japan, it was actually Tom Luthi who made a late season comeback with Vinales closely on his tail. And Rabat, he was on the podium though, so it still gave him that possibility of a title going to Australia, but that didn't prove so easy. Kallio put up a fight, yet the main rivals were once again Tom Luthi and Maverick Vinales, with Vinales taking the win ahead of Luthi and Rabat, giving the Spaniard an even bigger points advantage coming into Malaysia. And with this big advantage in Malaysia, the title was certainly not an easy ride, and another masterclass from Vinales and a great fight back from Kallio did mean that he did have to fight a little bit. It wasn't quite as simple as he may have thought, but Rabat did finish on the podium. He finished in 3rd place, yet the number 1 was his as he took his 1st ever world title. And finally, on to MotoGP. Well, you already know the story of Japan. We've spoken to the protagonist himself. He didn't take the victory in Motegi. That was Jorge Lorenzo ahead of Marc Marquez. But coming to the other races, he still had something to prove. He wanted that victory, which he hadn't had since Silverstone. And then Phillip Island, the battle for 1st place. Now, Marc Marquez, he seemed to run away with it, but it was Rossi, Lorenzo and Pedrosa that actually had this battle for 2nd place. They were separated by only 3 points going into it. Now, unfortunately for Pedrosa, he was taken out of the running by Iannone after a crash. Lorenzo himself had some front tyre issues. Marquez as well, he just dropped off the pace ever so slightly with a massive lead, which just cooled his tyre down a tiny little bit, and he crashed, which meant that it was Valentino Rossi who took his 1st win there for 9 years. Now, coming to Malaysia, cold temperatures were certainly not an issue, the hot temperature was. Danny Pedrosa, who'd shown great pace in practice, surprisingly crashed out of the race after leading briefly. Then it was Jorge Lorenzo's turn, but afterwards it was Valentino Rossi who then got into the lead, and afterwards it was Marc Marquez. Now Lorenzo did admit to suffering in the heat, leaving Rossi to battle with Marquez, and in the end it was the world champion who had just a little bit too much for the Italian, though nonetheless we were kept on our toes as Marquez equalled Mick Doohan's record of 12 wins in one season.
Which leaves him then with an extended championship lead once again. Some classic encounters there then over the course of the last 2 weeks. Here's what it all does for the MotoGP rider standings with just one to go in Valencia. Marc Marquez came into this triple header with a 75-point advantage. He goes back to Spain 62 points ahead of Valentino Rossi, and that battle now really on for second in the championship. Rossi versus Lorenzo, 12 points between them. Pedrosa now marooned down in 4th spot. And what about Aleix Espargaro? Really tumbled back down to 8th in the championship. A multiple rider battle going on there then for 6th overall as we head to Valencia. So 3 races, 3 countries within the space of just 3 weekends, and 3 different winners in the Premier Class of the World Championship. Congratulations to Honda, their 21st Constructors title in MotoGP, and the teams battle that will rage on then. We'll be in Valencia in 2 weeks' time, just 1 to go in 2014. We'll see you there.
The winner of After the Flag. Yeah.